What if I said that there was a country, fought the Soviets, Germans, and the Allies and still somehow survived the war? Well, they may not have actually fought in the war. It was very complicated and cold. So there was a short French dude. It actually wasn't that short and not all that French, who took over half of Europe. He came to the Russian Tsar and basically they fell in love. Due to this, the Russian Tsar declared war on Sweden because the Swedish king hated Napoleon. The Russians won and took over Finland. They ruled over it for a little over 100 years when this little conflict called the Russian Civil War happened. At this point, the Finnish parliament yeeted out and declared independence. However, there were communists who threatened the new country, and the parliament asked Karl Mannerheim to defeat the Reds. The Whites fought the Reds much in the same way as in the Russian Civil War. However, in this situation, the Germans sent aid, and the Whites under Mannerheim were victorious. Eventually, the Russian Civil War also ended, and at this point, each country had interests in each other's lands. There were Finnish speakers in Russian territory, and the city of Leningrad was exposed due to the Finns. Then a few years later, in 1939, there was this little conflict that was underway. You may have heard of it. World War II. This war didn't really spill over and engulf the neutral nations of Europe. Belgium, the Netherlands, Norway, Denmark, Greece, Yugoslavia, etc. They were perfectly fine. Oh wait, did I say fine? They were actually invaded. The Soviets were looking to take some of the crumbs before the Germans ate the cake. They went to Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania and politely asked to put military bases in their countries. I mean, who wouldn't trust this guy? The Finns were less keen on letting that happen to them. But when the Soviets politely asked for this piece of land, along with some islands, the Finns said, fuck off. The Soviets didn't even blink, and soon they were at war. The Soviets pulled some false flag attacks, and they generally believed that the war would be won within a few weeks. However, they declared war in the middle of winter. I know. It was cold, and due to the geography of the region, the Soviets couldn't use their massive amounts of men to punch a hole through any of the front line. However, regardless of how it looked, in the long term it was apparent who would win. The Soviets could afford to have a withdrawn conflict, while the Finns could not. There was a peace treaty, in which they ceded 10% of their land, including Viborg, which was the fourth most populated town. The Finns were obviously very pissed at this. The Soviets were very humiliated due to their poor performance. Both of these would come to a head again. Just kidding.
The Soviets and the Germans just signed a non-aggression pact, and once the war with the British is over, we're all gonna be friends.
Anyways, Hitler was about to invade Russia, and at this point the Finns allowed a ton of troops and equipment to go through the country. As soon as the invasion occurred, Stalin started bombing Finnish cities, and soon the Finns were actually in the war. This started the Continuation War. Hitler's invasion went really well at first, before it went really bad. The Finns took back the territory they lost, and along with the Germans in the south, they encircled Leningrad. The Soviets soon offered a few concessions, and the Finns said no. At this point, the Allies were fed up with the situation and declared war on Finland. In December of 1941, some small, insignificant nation joined the war.
Get up, cocksuckers. Salute the flag. Get up, everybody, get up. It's Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure you had a grandpa who killed a Japanese person.
After this, the Finns took mostly defensive positions with little fighting through the rest of the war. Then in 1944, the Soviets launched a massive operation that pushed them back around where they were during the Winter War. They were still holding out, and the Finnish president gave a letter to Hitler in which he said they would not make peace with the Soviets, as long as he was in power. However, the president soon resigned and Mannerheim was put in as the commander-in-chief. He soon negotiated a ceasefire and then an armistice.
Also, now that the Germans are losing, we can join the Allies and help contribute to the end of the war. However, there's still one problem. There are 200,000 Germans in the north of the country.
In all actuality, the Germans nearly lost the war. D-Day was a success. The Soviets were pushing them back all across the front. The Finns generally allowed the Germans to flee across to Norway. And to thank them for their betrayal, they burned down houses to the point where 100,000 Finns were left homeless. This brings it back to the beginning of the video. Not where Napoleon kissed the Tsar, but where I said it was complicated. They were at war with the Soviets, then the Allies, then they switched and declared war on the Germans. This means they were obviously in the war, right? Well,
yes, but actually no.
They didn't join the Axis, they didn't deport Jews, they didn't actually siege down Leningrad, they didn't attack the Allies, etc. In my opinion, they can be seen as a nation that was eyeing to protect its citizens. And once the Continuation War started, they simply looked to take advantage of the Russians. Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, take a look at Smith's channels in the description, and thank you for watching.
Ooh.